Yasodanandana Prajajanararanjana Yaunatira Panachariya Yamunatira Vanachariya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari Yasodanandana Prajajanararanjana Yasodanandana Prajajanararanjana Yasodanandana Prajajanararanjana Yamunatira Vanachariya Yamunatira Vanachariya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Sadashli A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Sadashli Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridasa Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Maya Ki Yamuna Maya Ki Tulasi Deva Ki Bhakti Deva Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtanam Ki Brihat Madanga Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesha Shunyavadi Pastachade Shatari. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 54, and I believe number 45. Pardon? 45, is that correct? Correct? That's the verse they asked to speak on, so I guess we'll speak on that verse, or try to. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kindly repeat. Deha, Adi, Antavan, Esha, Dravya, Prana, Gunatmakaha, Atmani, Avidyaya, Kliptaha, Sangsarayati, Dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmakaha, Atmanya vidyaya kliptaha, Sangsarayati dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmaka, Atmanya vidyaya klipta, Sangsarayati dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmakaha, Atmanya vidyaya klipta, Sangsarayati dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmakaha, Atmanya vidyaya klipta, Sangsarayam dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmakaha, Atmanya vidyaya klipta, Sangsarayati dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, Dravya prana gunatmakaha, Atmanya vidyaya klipta, Sangsarayati dehinam, Deha adyantavanesha, dravya prana gunatmakaha atmanya vidyaya klipta samsarayati dehinam deha adyantavanesha dravya prano gunatmakaha atmanya vidyaya klipta samsarayati dehinam. Ladies. Dehadyantavanesha dravya prano gunatmakaha atmanya vidyaya klipta samsarayati dehinam deha adyantavanesha dravya prana gunatmakaha atmanya vidyaya klipta samsarayati dehinam. Deha, the material body. Adi, beginning. Anta, and end. Vam, having. Eshaha, this. Dravya, of the physical elements. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Atmakaha, composed. Atmani, on the self. Avidyaya, by material ignorance. Kliptaha, imposed. Samsarayati, causes to experience. The cycle of birth and death. Dehinam, an embodied being. Translation and purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. This material body, which has a beginning and an end, is composed of the physical elements, the senses, and the modes of nature. The body, imposed on the self by material ignorance, causes one to experience the cycle of birth and death. Purport. The material body, composed of various material qualities, elements, and so on, attracts and repels the conditioned souls, and thus entangles him in material existence. Because of our attraction and our repulsion for our own body and other bodies, we establish temporary relationships. We dedicate ourselves to great endeavors and sacrifices. We concoct imaginary religions. We make noble speeches and thoroughly involve ourselves in material illusion. An interesting quote here. As Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. Beyond the somewhat absurd theater of material existence is the real and meaningful world of Krishna consciousness, the liberated life of pure souls, devoted in loving service to the Supreme Lord. End of purport. Hare Krishna. My dear God brothers, maybe God sisters, senior Vaishnavas, sannyasis, devotees, everyone assembled here today, thank you so much for your association. I hope that I can speak a few words which may please the heart and satisfy Srila Prabhupada a little bit. Although I was thinking today to speak perhaps a little different than what you'd expect from this verse, on this verse entirely, but maybe a slightly different angle. And I hope if you can correct me or forgive me if you wish, if there's any offense involved or any mistakes which inevitably will be there in whatever I endeavor to do. But we'll try to follow Srila Prabhupada and follow the train of this subject matter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So many of us have taken part in dramas, a literal drama. The material world is itself a never-ending drama, but a drama within a drama. And we all know, those who've taken part, that the first principle in any drama is not so much to learn the lines, it's not so much even the costumes, the scenery. The first, and this is in one sense we could say, the situation of the pure spirit soul, how we come into this world. The first principle of acting or drama is to forget our real identity and to fully identify with the part which we are supposed to play in the drama. If you are playing Advaitacharya, Haridas Thakur, whatever part it is, of course we cannot imitate, but we try to. So the living entity desiring, one of the common things also in dramas, we like to be center stage. We like people to recognize our part that we are playing. It's common, it's not exclusive, but it's common. And this is the nature of the living entity, isn't it? When in this material world, we're all seeing ourselves in the center, and we are seeing the world around about us, judging it according to our own perception. So this is you could say, there was one, and I don't know if some of you are probably familiar, there was quite often in the 1960s and 70s, it was surprising enough, but there were musical groups who would sing about these principles, about, the whole world is a stage and we're all actors and Maya is the director and so on and so forth. And she's the director of this drama which we are in, which we think is real. Now the secret is that Maya, one of her potencies, is to completely cover our consciousness so that we completely forget who we actually are. And she's really expert. She's a perfect dramatic director. So expert. Sometimes when you're in a drama, you're not completely where you should be, and you have a little, inhibition or something. But there's no inhibition in this world or in the material energy. We completely identify with our part. Be it a dog, be it a bird, be it an elephant, be it a human, a demigod, whatever it is, that's me. I think Prahlāda Maharaj, you may remember about 12 to 15 years ago, we were in London. You had arranged a European brahmachari convention. You remember that time? Maybe 70, 80 brahmacharis were in attendance. And on the final day of this maybe 5, I don't know how many days it was, of our gathering, a brahmachari gathering in London at the Manor. We were all going for Harinama Sankirtan, right? And one of our devotees happened to have a bus company, so he gave free usage of double-decker buses. We all got on board the double-decker buses, accompanied by about 120 other devotees. About 200 of us set off towards London for the Harinam. Saturday night Harinam. There's nothing like it in London. And I don't know if you remember, we could hardly get into the city. Hardly. We could not, practically speaking, the whole city was blocked off. Center city, 1 mile by 1 mile blocked. Why? It was Gay Pride Day. At least 1 million people were crammed into this central part of London, maybe more. It was shoulder to shoulder, literally, as they were having their rascal dance, whatever it's called. And then we went around. We couldn't go in much. We went around and about. And I remember I started to try to distribute a few books towards the end. And this one man, he was definitely a part of the party. I approached him, and he was very convinced about his conditioning. He must have contacted a Hare Krishna before. He said, "I don't believe a word you're saying. I am my body," he shouted at me. And he turned around, and well, maybe this shouldn't be said, but we're a little distance from the temple. And he pulled his pants down and said, "I am my body!" And oh, goodness gracious. Talk about conditioned soul. But this is the position, to different degrees, that we're basically all, even, I mean, I can speak for myself, I can't speak for anyone else in this room, but there's still quite a degree of bodily identification involved in my, whatever, existence. When somebody, doesn't recognize me or says something unpleasant or even anything, I become somewhat affected. Some identification is there, whatever it may be. Attachments are there. Anyway, that's Maya's expertise, and that's the position of the material world. We're all encased in this body because we're trying to imitate. Just like in a drama, we're playing a part. But because we so much identify with that part, as mentioned in the purport, we experience happiness and distress, and consequently repeated birth and death, and all the other various joys of being in the material world, whatever they wish to call it. So having said that, we're going to move into the dramatic statement which was made in the purport, "All the world is but a stage." Now, you've already seen, this is quite a famous quote. Even there was, I believe, a musical record made with that title. I don't know if it was The Who or who it was. Somebody or other made it. And it was very popular. They may realize that. But one of the biggest problems people have, they may realize that this is some kind of dream or illusion, but they have no idea who they are. This is the problem. Even, religions, mostly nothing is really giving a clear idea who we are. This is the uniqueness about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, is it enables people to realize not just who we're not, and if you don't know who you are, you end up mayavad, I guess, or you have a false understanding that you were now some kind of eternal enjoyers in heaven or something. But no, or another concept of the frustration, nothing exists, we don't exist. We're simply a chemical reaction, it's all over after death. So all kinds of different illusions and different falsities take place because we don't know the truth. And this is the world of illusions, so people are caught in this world. It's only if one has the good fortune of, let's say, an entry from outside of the illusion, as mentioned here, the world beyond, that transcendental world, where we really belong. But because we're looking towards the material energy, we become attached. And that attachment causes us to perpetually take birth after birth in this material world, identifying with whichever body we may be in, whether it's a cockroach, or whether it's a bird, or whether it's a human. Whatever body we're in, that entity completely identifies with that body, unless there's a little bit of awakening of, somehow or another, some knowledge starts to awaken. So I'm going to go into an area now. This quote of Shakespeare, now being born in the land of Shakespeare, this is very dear to our hearts. Anyone who is blessed to be born in the Holy Land of England, I'm sure has the same emotion as I do right now. Prabhu Vishnu was not born in England. Were you born in England or Northern Ireland? Northern Ireland is not the same. What to do? But your parents lived in Oxford. Yeah, so they were kind of educated in English way. Oh my goodness. You're even more educated than I was. Stratford-upon-Avon, if you've ever heard of it, is one of the many holy tirthas in England. It's full of holy places, right, Maharaj? Yeah. Oh, Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu. Full of holy places. Full of holy places, like Stonehenge, and so many wonderful. We take advantage of that. We go there and preach, and it's wonderful. So I'm going to read where this particular stanza or metaphor comes from a play by Shakespeare, and it was interestingly entitled "As You Like It." He had a sort of some kind of intuition. I don't know if he was aware of it, but in most of his plays, you will find some kind of, how do you explain it? Metaphorical description of the illusion which we're in. Very clever. It's very, probably amongst dramatic writers, he's probably the world's number one famous person. He appeared in the world about 500 years, I suppose, almost 500 years ago. And he wrote many dramas, plays, whatever you call it. So this is one called As You Like It, and you've probably heard more about other ones. But anyway, in this drama, he depicts he writes about a character called Jacques. That's a French word, and a lot of the words he uses have French origins. Now this is going to mystify you, this paragraph, because it's in Old English. And if you think Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's writing is a little difficult to follow sometimes in English, this is not complicated, but the words you may never have heard before. They're very unusual, some of them. So I'll try to read it, and of course I'm not able to read it the way it's meant to be read, but we'll do what we can. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. See how close it is to today's purport. His acts being 7 ages. Notice there are 7 acts, and he describes it as 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history in second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Interesting. Something is there he could see. This is our life as we read over here in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Practically everyone will know this if you've learned a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. What is it, text 14? How's it go? Dehinosmin yata dehe. It's good to remember sometimes, isn't it? We're so elevated in talking about Krishna, past times, and all kinds of elevated philosophy, and sometimes we've not even fully applied the very basic elements of the Bhagavad Gita. We're not this body. Now, of course, there's an element of that in this dramatic presentation, but there's no idea of who we are. And maybe not even an indication that there's any future birth. But at least he's seeing that this is a dream, it's an illusion. But it's not enough, is it? We pass through these stages of life from birth, youth, old age, death, and so on. Then what? It's going to come to all of us. Prabhupada said, don't think this won't happen to you. And some of us are getting close to the, probably close to the mark. We don't know. You may be a young man and it might be today or tomorrow. We have no idea. Isn't it? Can't say, I've got another 50 years to go. I don't have to worry about that. You may have another 50 seconds. We do not know. Death can come at any moment. It's not assured. But certainly when we hit the mid-70s, there's some kind of like signs are increasing, and they say we're in the, well, they say that we're not just the waiting list, we're on basically the last leg or whatever. Any moment it may happen. So life is meant not just as a dramatic performance of meaninglessness. It is very meaningful. We can't afford to waste our time identifying with what we're not. Maya, there's another song, they actually sang that Maya is the director, we're all players, and Maya is like the director. People had some idea, but they had no idea what to do with it all. What's the use of knowledge if we don't know what to do with it? Knowledge has to be applied. Applied knowledge. Huh? That's the secret. Well, let's move on. One of the words which is very commonly used, and Prabhupada used it quite a lot too, is a word in dramatic presentation of Shakespeare, is a word called folly. Not very commonly used now, but Prabhupada used it on several occasions. What does folly mean? Not foolishness. And he described our business in this world as folly. Simply folly. Probably the same thing. We're all fools. We're all fools in this world. Foolishness. It also means lack of good sense. We don't have any proper sense. We have senses, but they're completely covered by ignorance and passion. Occasional little bit of goodness pops up. We're basically controlled by these crazy senses. This is folly, foolish. They say, was it? Well, what's that saying? It's bliss. It's
folly to be wise when ignorance is bliss.
Yes. Huh? Yeah. Ignorance. The people have this statement, huh? Where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. You stay in ignorance, huh? And that's the world we're in. People don't even, most of them don't even make an effort to change it, do they? They're just trying to adjust the ignorance. My ignorance is better than your ignorance. But it's still ignorance, huh? They say, even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. Even if your ignorance does get more traction than my ignorance, so what? We're all going down. We're all finished. Oh, an illusion. And probably better, your ignorance is not better than my ignorance, but it probably makes you suffer more. The whole world is in this crazy situation. So many people can see it like that. And especially in our modern society. How much people are captivated by, which we didn't have, well, at least this quarter here. We didn't have when we were in our youth. We didn't have what you're doing. This young man here is tapping away meticulously there. Okay, he's making notes. We believe you. We believe you. Vaishnavas are always honest, so. We didn't have these mobile phones, did we? Well, there are so many mobiles now. We're not so mobile. The phone is mobile, but we're not so mobile. We're kind of stuck on our mobiles half the time, like zombies. We didn't have them when we were kids, huh? I don't know. Even you, Mirage, you never had a mobile, I bet. I didn't have a mobile until 6 years ago, and someone gave me one, and I'm stuck. What to do? But, social media, or whatever it's called, all these different things, how much it captivates our attention and affects our life, isn't it? Whether it's right or wrong, it affects our consciousness. It's so dangerous. It can be so helpful, but it can be so dangerous. We've got to be very careful. The same thing with everything in this world. But it's becoming so entangling, so Kali is really progressing rapidly in this way. Mass communication of Kali's plans. The world is basically infiltrated in this way. So I guess mention another interesting thing in another drama of Shakespeare called the King Lear. You may have heard of that one or not. I don't know much about it. But I noted, he wrote there, when we are born, we cry that we are come to the great stage of fools. That's the line of Shakespeare. We cry that we've come into this world, into a world of a great stage of fools, he said. This world's a stage of fools. Think what you like. In Macbeth he says, another famous drama, all our yesterdays have lighted fools, the way to dusty death. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. You can see it's a little shallow, but it's one aspect to understand how foolish we are to try to enjoy this material world. It's just a dream-like illusion, or shadow in his own words here. Shadow means there has to be reality. Reflection, even dream. You cannot dream unless it has some form of reality. It may be perverted by the modes of nature, but it has its reality. Just like a dream and like a shadow. You can't have a shadow of nothing. Is it? I don't think so. I've never seen a shadow of nothing. Maybe some kind of mystical display, magic. Or, if you're, what's his name, Kamsa or something, you may see some strange scenes. But normally there's no such thing as a shadow without something to be, an object to block the light, so to speak. Or a reflection. You look in the mirror. Everybody looks in the mirror, probably most days, to look at least to see if your tilak is straight or whatever it is, to see how your crinkles are, whatever. But you don't expect when you look in the mirror, you're going to see a pig's face in the mirror. You'll have a bit of a shock or whatever, nothing at all. So it's reflection of what you think is reality. The material world is a reflection of reality. That's all it is. It's a reflection. There's some understanding is there. So it's like, he describes it as a meaningless display, not to show at the end. It's all a waste of time. It's a fact, when we leave this body, what have we got besides our desires and our karma, which is dictating our progress from one lifetime to another. So if we don't cultivate, act akarmically, activities which do not create karmic reactions, and if we don't cultivate thoughts of Krishna, then where are we going to end up? By the grace of the Lord, everything's possible, the grace of the devotees. But we shouldn't take it for granted. We have a great opportunity to cultivate this opportunity, this program, this process of devotional service, which they don't know about, the means for getting out of this dream or this drama which we're all stuck in. And we all identify the women with women, the men with men, the brahmacharis with brahmacharis, the grihasthas. We all have these identities to some degree or another. We all know that Lord Chaitanya said this is not our identity. We have to live our real identity, not just say it, but live it. We are the servant of the servant, 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 and so on. We have to live it. Another interesting statement, which is very common, used by Prabhupada quite a few times, is a fool's paradise. You've heard that one? A fool's paradise. Where did that come from? Anyway, it came from also, it was, I believe, used all by Shakespeare, but it's not originally from Shakespeare. This word was some previous statement of some other English canon or something or another. Anyway, it means a state of happiness based on false hope. This is the definition. To be happy because you do not know or will not accept how bad the situation is. No, there's an illusion. How bad the situation. Really, any situation that somebody thinks is good without realizing that it won't last. Or a situation which you may think is good, but you know is going to last, is called a fool's paradise. So where is there such a situation that doesn't exist like that in this world? You know it's going to come to an end. Every activity, Krishna makes it clear, everything that has a beginning has an end in this world. All things must come to pass. But everyone goes ahead with it. It's crazy, huh? You know it's going to die. You know you're going to die. But you go full swing. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try to get it while you live, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. Famous saying. Another idiom. Idiom, idiot. What to do? People are so foolish. They know it's like, it doesn't take much brain to realize. Maybe an animal doesn't know, but a human being should have at least that much knowledge of introspection. Introspection. But most people are so overwhelmed with attraction and repulsion in this world. You know, Prabhupada tells the story, of the man who's being chased by a wild boar or a tiger or something. And he manages to jump up onto a branch and pull himself up onto the tree. And, oh my God, he sat there. And at the end of the branch, there's one woodpecker pecking away at the branch. And then down below, he sees there's a pit of venomous snakes. If he falls off, he's going to go straight in the pit. And then there's the tiger or something waiting to eat him. What a situation, Terrible, terrible. But then suddenly something goes pop on his head. What is that? Bird ding? Bird dung? Oh, that looks interesting. Oh. Yummy. It's honey. Honey. There's a beehive above. And every minute or two, a drip of honey comes down. Whoa. Woo. And he forgets about the woodpecker. He forgets about the tiger, the snakes, and everything else that's happening. And just looks forward to the next drop of honey. A little tiny drop of honey. We're willing to take this crazy risk in this world. Searching for that drop of honey. That's the nature of this world. We're always hoping against hope. And you usually find the first taste is never quite the same again. But we're hoping it will be. Until the time we die, this never stops, Even at death, we're still trying to squeeze something out of this life. I don't want to die. They give a person on death row their last wish. What do you want to eat? Their favorite meal, a pizza. Last night I didn't take, but they had pizza at the program we went to. Everyone was in ecstasy. Even the cow was sat there with a pizza in front of it. Literally, it was actually. He didn't want to eat it though. But, we're last moment, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. What to do? Death comes along, you can't stop it, and it's all over. And we think, oh no, terrible, fool's paradise. That's what we're living in. And you put your money on an old horse which has one leg, blind. You're crazy. Never going to win the race. And that's what we're doing. putting all of our energy into this body, which is dead. It's literally dead. It's just a dead body flapping, as Prabhupada said. We're flapping around for a few days and a few years, but it's really a dead body. As soon as the soul leaves, it just resumes its dead life, lifelessness. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada says, and he uses this word here a couple of times actually, when he was talking to Mike Robinson. Were you there in London for that conversation, Prabhupada Prabhu? No, most of us have heard it. It's a very famous one. And Mike says, he was quite a surrendered guy. And you were really not concerned whether or not they joined the Hare Krishna movement, he said. Prabhupada was just preaching about knowledge. And then Prabhupada said, it doesn't matter. Our mission is to educate them. People are in ignorance. They are living in a fool's paradise, thinking that when their body is finished, everything is finished. That is foolishness. There are so many foolish ideas which we pick up from here. You know, as mentioned, the purport, we make up our own foolish religions also, twisting and turning according to our mode of nature and what we think or what we want or how we interpret. It doesn't get us anywhere of any value. In a conversation, what is this? Oh, this is a quote from John Dewey. I've never heard of the guy. He said, although you are dying... Oh, no, it's not. This is from a Prabhupada discussion, the philosophy of this John Dewey. And he said, although you are dying, Prabhupada said, you are thinking you are happy. This is called a fool's paradise. He tried to be happy to the last breath, huh? Yes, I'm okay. I'm fine. Broken legs, you can't move your neck, You got Alzheimer's, or I can't say when you got Alzheimer's, you got Parkinson's. Yes, I'm fine. Can't eat, can't see, can't drink, can't think. The government, Prabhupada says, in a lecture in London, 1973, the government is sinful, the people are sinful. Then how can you become happy? It is a fool's paradise. Sinful paradise. And this is one for our dear Prithu Prabhu. This was from a conversation, morning walk in Germany. Perhaps you were on the walk, 1974. Prabhupada said, this is the position of Western countries, Europe and America. It is a fool's paradise. It is paradise certainly. Very, very big building and advancement. But all rascals and fools. Fool's paradise, Prabhupada said. Same time in Germany, you are all fools. Yours is a fool's paradise. Probably rubbing it in here. This is life. What we are doing. Teach them so that the fools will understand what is life. We're all fools. Lord Chaitanya was one. Ishwar Puri called Lord Chaitanya a fool. Because he's not a fool. But that's another, I would say, approach to the understanding of fool. Even the word folly originally comes from the very word fool itself. We could go on in similar ways. Dehapachara kalatradishu atmasanyasva satsvapihi. Second canto Bhagavatam. What does, who is that? Sukadeva Goswami, what does he say? Who knows that verse? English translation.
Deha means body, Patya means the children, Karuṇa means the wife. So they think that the wife, the children, they're my soldiers because they're all fallible. Although they're seeing that they can't protect one, still one cannot see.
Although sufficiently experienced, still they do not see their inevitable destruction. We're like on a party. Sometimes that example is given. We're on like a bus. We're going down the highway full steam. And we're having a party on board the bus. We're drinking, we're smoking, we're eating pizzas, we're dancing and singing. And we're having a jolly good time. Maybe you could say the Titanic. We're having a great time on board the first maiden voyage, the infallible Titanic. They said it was unsinkable. Isn't it ironic? On its maiden voyage, before it even reached its destiny, the boat sank. And half of them were drunk, I believe, when it went down. They thought we're on top of the world here. But sooner or later, bang, the bus hits the wall, and you come to a dead end. Dead end. Persons devoid of spiritual knowledge, or atma-tattva, do not inquire into the problems of life. They don't do it. The real problems of life, they don't really inquire about. How to stop, well, they have their own false idea. How to stop birth, death. They don't want, maybe some people want to stop birth by artificial means, but it doesn't stop the reality of birth. How to stop old age, disease, death. These are the problems which we have to face, and the threefold miseries. How to stop that? People don't know. They spend all their energy, but they're looking in the wrong place. They don't know how to stop it. You can't stop it in this material world. This is the nature, the constitution of the material world. You can't take it away. It's the nature of the world. You can't take sugar from sweetness from sugar. You can't take these things. Birth and death are part and parcel of the material world. Even if you're a Lord Brahma, you still have to die. Even if you're yogi, you live 700 years, you still have to quit your body. It's a reality which we all have to face. Maybe we don't reach officially old age. Maybe we have good karma or something. We're not so sick. But sickness comes. You can't avoid it. The material world. But there is a solution. Bhagavatam is giving that solution. Shakespeare didn't give it. Other religions, they only give some improvement, you could say, within the drama. A heavenly post. You've got a heavenly part to play in the drama instead of a hellish one, that's all. But it's still an illusion. Krishna consciousness given by Mahaprabhu is the only means to get out of this illusion, this dream-like existence. We're encased in this material body. Another famous verse, 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 27. Who remembers that one? Other than Prahlāda Maharaj, who knows every verse. I know he does. We were sitting together in a van going to the Byron Bay Rath Yatra about 20 years ago. I don't know if you remember that, Maharaj, and you asked me, say a number, from Bhagavad Gita, any number, like 518. And immediately Maharaj would give the verse, word for word in translation, boom, boom, boom. Uh-huh. I didn't ask you to say it now. Okay, one a little bit more difficult, okay? 1613. Getting old. Even Prabhupada said that, I'm getting old, my memory is not so good. But he knew every single verse and probably still does, but just take a little time to remember it. And we may not be able to do that, but we've got to pick up what is the point of all of this knowledge. It's for us to apply in our own lives. And to hear it regularly is very important, down to earth. Well, so 327, other than Prahlāda Maharaj, who knows this verse? It is a very famous verse also. Somebody said, no, Prahlāda Maharaj. You're embarrassing. Anyone, you've already indicated the beginning. Anyone else know? Very good. And those who are English first language, who knows the translation? Or second language? Or third? Who knows the translation? Come on, a wise man from Sydney must know the meaning of this verse. You don't know the verse. Just see. Excellent organizer, though. He just organized a wonderful program the last week for honoring His Holiness Kadambakana Maharaj. Haribo. Who knows the meaning? More or less. Oh, you got the mobile. Jolly good show. Excellent.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of ego, think himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
Jolly well done. That was wonderful. Perfect. You know it perfectly well. Word for word. Absolutely first class. Wow. You're a real pandit. Thank God Google Guru is there. So this is the reality of it. We think we're the doer. There's an element of being the doer because it's based upon our desire to want to imitate Krishna. But in this material world, basically speaking, everything is done by the modes of nature according to our karma and according to our desire. But because we think we're the doer, we think we're the endurer, we're trying to imitate Krishna, we think we're the center of life, therefore we are entangled in this world and we have to suffer repeated birth and death, dualities of material existence. What was that? What was that?
Chair went down.
Crash chair?
Hopefully it wasn't the first time.
The chair collapsed? Just, huh? It slipped. So either it'll collapse or it'll slip, but eventually it'll go. I was sitting the other day on this, what I thought was a new chair in the room I'm staying in. It looked fancy. It was one of these coffee table chairs, reading something, and suddenly I found myself on the floor with a chair smashed to pieces and a big scar on my hip. Don't think samasataye padapalava plavam mahatpadam punya shomara. Even if you're not walking, there's danger at every sit. You see step. It can happen any moment, huh? You can be in your bed, you can be anywhere. You don't know when it's going to come. I'll finish off with one example. We could talk on this same subject forever. All of you could talk. It's the essential, foundational subject of our movement, basically, philosophically. But it's very interesting. I remember we were at this one program in a town called Sitiowan. And I don't know if, Prahlad Maharaj, you must have been there. You've not been to Sitiowan? You've wasted half your life. Prabhupada Vishnu knows it very well. You remember? You were probably at that program. Jayapataka Maharaj gave the class. It was in some Hindu hall, packed hall. And he was, Jayapataka Maharaj, is like such a powerful speaker. And, he was speaking very strong. This was before he had his stroke. But he was speaking very strongly. And he was saying, it's just, our situation in this world is just like this. And he put himself in the position of a I don't know if you call it an auctioneer, someone who sells property. He's selling property. And he said, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing offer for all of you lucky people sat here in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. We have the most opulent properties available. I don't know where rich suburbs of Vrindavan are, if there are any, but I'm sure there are many in Delhi and Mumbai. In that most opulent suburb, we have wonderful properties with all the facilities you could ever dream about. Aircon, golf courses, tennis courts, everything you like. Sofas, everything so nice, perfect. And we're giving these as an offer today. No charge. 99-year lease. No charge. They're available to you lucky people. All you have to do is sign up. Sign the form. Easy as pie. Look at Dharmatma. He's getting it, waiting for the form to come his way. He's been dreaming of this all his last years as a brahmachari. Well, it's coming up soon, the new building over here. You'll be the king of the palace, don't worry. He's the new king of the palace, right? He's waiting in the line. How many are above me now? Sometimes that happens to us also. Sometimes. Be careful. Then he said, okay, ladies and gentlemen, sign up. Someone says, what are there no conditions? Not really. There's a little condition. It's a very small print at the bottom. They always put small print. Small print at the bottom. Everyone's eagerly signing. Let me have a look at the small print now. Okay. Free lease for 99 years. You don't own it, by the way. You're only like a tenant for maximum 99 years. At any moment, the real owner will come. He might come down the chimney. He might come through the window or the door. Well, who knows how he'll come. But when he comes, he will kill you! Oh, sorry about that. Okay, sign up, everybody. It might be in a minute. He may come in a minute's time. Better sign quick before he comes. That's the human body. That is the human body. We're so absorbed in it, trying to enjoy the so-called facilities that it affords of the senses, etc., and the objects of the senses, that we forget the reality of what's happening. So our business, Prabhupada says, to remind people of this reality, and not just by words, but showing the path which leads or frees us from this trap, from this illusion. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions, any more quotes from Shakespeare or any other Mahatmas? Boom, boom. Someone's banging on the mic. Panditji.
In the very beginning, you mentioned about your Harinam party being interrupted by this gay pride in London.
I mentioned what?
You mentioned about the gay pride in London, where we were going on Harinam in a bus.
Yeah.
So, on that point, I wanted to ask you a question. I have a good fortune of living in New Dwarka, Los Angeles for the last 30 years. And the author of this purport we read today, Janananda Maharaj, about 15 years ago, he performed a gay marriage in Los Angeles. John and Mike, you are divinely blessed. So my question is, when Prabhupada directly says in the third canto that homosexuality is demoniac, how is an Hare Krishna movement, a leader like him, is personally performing a gay marriage? Oh.
Yeah, it's a bit oversensitive for this assembly. But actually everything in this world is demoniac in one sense. We're all in an illusion. Even Prabhupada said there's a quotation again by Shakespeare that married life is simply, let's say, what is the exact word he used, was legitimizing prostitution. And Prabhupada said that's correct. Everything we do in this material world where we see ourselves as the body or the enjoyer is an illusion. We cannot, we try to follow that which will help us to come out of the illusion. That's the real point. We're all in illusion. No matter who we are, and as long as we're in this material bodily concept of life, we try to adopt that which is given to release us from illusion. And the most important thing of all, another statement of Shakespeare, what did he say? Let me get it exactly right. I'm not a fan of Shakespeare. I never read anything about him until this morning. But one of his statements was, if music be the food of love, play on. So that's our line. Kirtan. It is the food of love. It is the nature of the spiritual word, the sound of pure holy name. That no matter what our conditioning is, and believe me, we don't look down on anyone as such. I'm under everyone, so I can't look down anyway. The Prabhupada's mood. We're the servant of everyone, no matter what their idea is or their identity is. It's irrelevant in one sense. We don't look down. We try to help them to look up. And the process is the same for every conditioned soul. We may have our issues, we may have our conditionings, but the process is the same, Harinam Sankirtan, for every living entity. And there's no discrimination there. There may be differences in our part that we play, the role that we play because of our different conditionings, but the process of emancipation from that false identity is the same for each and every one of us. So whatever helps us to get freed, but the only thing which really frees us is the absorption in chanting the holy name, cultivating pure seva. The real essential factor. And we associate with devotees according to our situation, whatever it may be. We try to associate favorably, hear and chant in the association of devotees, serve the devotees the best we can. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is preparing us all we're always around our neck. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said this is basically speaking the essential mantra of those members of the mat is Trinadapi Sinichena Tarorapi Sahishnana. To be more humble than the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respects to others, no matter who they are. This is a Vaishnava, a devotee. We don't condemn others. We may not agree with what they're doing, but as Jesus said, we hate the sin, not the sinner. So and oftentimes we equate the two. We are conditioned. We're all born with whatever we've got from our previous lifetime, and by the arrangement of the material energy, we are placed into a certain womb, a certain association which is just suitable for our tendencies, kutas and bijas from previous lifetimes, and the arrangement is made so we'll come into contact with persons who will again awaken those particular tendencies and fulfill those particular desires. In this way we go on, birth after birth, and it changes from one birth to the next. So if we become attached, just like Prabhupada has the story of that so-called puffed up Brahmana who was very horrified because the prostitute would walk past his house every day, and he's met his horror, this disgusting prostitute contaminating my environment. And when time of death came, the prostitute was thinking how fallen and lowly I am. I'm so fallen. I have no hope of becoming a devotee of Krishna. And she was thinking like that at the time of death. She went back to Godhead, prostitute. The Brahmin was thinking, this horrible, ghastly prostitute. He had to take birth again. He was attached. So it's not it's a question of, focusing on Krishna, no matter what our condition may be. Whatever it is, we should be careful. We don't become proud. Think that I'm holier than thou. All of us have work to do. Great opportunity to achieve highest perfection of life. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Hare Krishna, is that okay? Thank you. Prabhupada loved everyone. He may have said certain things, but when it came to it, he made a house for the whole world to live in. You just have to know where you live in the house, that's all. We don't all live in the same room. That's where the problem comes. We all think we're materially equal, conditionally equal, we're spiritually equal. We have to know, Prabhupada writes in Isha-Panchada, we have to learn to play the part designated to us by Krishna and not imitate others. But be humble and be respectful and try to help others to advance in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.